You know how when I do these videos lately, I keep saying, I gotta hurry, time to get to the rink. I don't have time to go over the gear before my game tonight, so I'll be back afterwards because there's some pretty cool stuff to talk about with this set. Besides rule number 1 look great, rule number 2 tonight is hopefully none of the gear falls apart.
Hey, beautiful. What are your menu sets? This one's Don Beaupre Tshirts.
Tied 1-1 after 1. Went in 4-1 after 2. Five-2 win. Now we'll talk about the gear. Well, here I am after the game. It's actually a couple days later, and this is the gear I wore. And I'm sure by now, with the thumbnail and maybe description of the video, you figured out, or I told you, this is a bit of a Don Beaupre tribute with his time with the Capitals. I'll probably kind of go through some of the pieces real quick, and then there's a couple pieces I need to talk a little more about. So we start off, I did go with the Capitals jersey. It's one I picked up a while back. Used it a couple different times now. Fits really well over top of my Cooper Reactor 5 chest protector. Again, that's my kind of go-to chest protector, it seems like, this whole season. Hopefully I'll change that up. I got to get a couple of the other units I have, fitted better for me. And then behind me, when I walked in, you probably saw the Takla Capitals pants. Figured the best way to go about playing a Capitals theme was make sure all the pieces match. So I actually did this kit based on a very specific look that Don had with the Capitals, and that was because of the mask design, and I'll get to that in just a minute. But because of that, I went with a red Christian stick. Now this one is a Curtis Curve, and I don't believe he used the Curtis Curve, but I do have the Christian with the red paddle, and it looks right, so that's the way I went. I went with the Durasoft GM31 catch glove. This is the Super Pro model, red, white, and blue, very similar to the style that Don used, and it is a Durasoft model that matches the rest of the gear. These are the pieces we need to talk a little bit about. Probably start with the mask so I can kind of move it out of the way and keep talking, but this is just a Badger BSM 1H. It's the hinged faced model. I'll show you the photo here. I tried to do that fancy capital design with vinyl, and that's not doable for me. So I tried to quickly do a tribute style reproduction of this version of the mask that he apparently only wore for a very short period of time. I wasn't able to add the extra blue at the top of the chin section and the white stripe that came across, but overall it was close enough for me that it tied the whole set together. Now we're going to talk about the blocker, and you'll notice right off the bat a little bit of difference from the game video, and that is the holes of the waffle aren't white right now. That's because I already did a little playing around with this. I had to show it to someone to talk about something to do with this blocker, and that's because this is a prototype I came up with about 2 years or so ago, and I just never did anything with it. I didn't have a blue face with red binding when I made this, so I decided I would make it, and I guess I'll just let you in on the secret. It's really just an older GM6 blocker that I had no real intention of using, and I made a skin to cover it, and I figured this would be kind of a cool thing for when I need to put a kit together with certain color combinations and designs on the blocker that I don't have yet. So this was the maiden voyage, this particular game. Right before leaving, and part of the reason I didn't have a whole lot of time for this stuff pre-game was I did a little playing around, kind of throwing pucks in the air and then pucks at it and stuff, and I noticed it tried to slip off at the front. So right before leaving, I sewed on this extra piece of elastic here to go across underneath the fingers, and it seemed to work out well. Now, I covered the face of this with a removable vinyl, and you can see it didn't peel any graphic or anything when I removed it, though this will be my fake blocker probably moving forward anyways. That was my intent why I made this. Now I'm going to move these into production and have a handful of different designs made because it's past the test. We have a couple changes we're going to make. Hopefully in the future I'll have a few different designs and get them out on the ice and show you how well it works. Overall, I was pretty happy with how it looked and with the performance of having this skin on here. Okay, on to the pads. This is a set of like 1992 GP3000 pads that I've had for actually several years. When I got them, the knee rolls were worn, and over the course of me using them however many times I did, I noticed that the knee roll backing material was starting to get really bad. It was really starting to kind of shred, I guess is a way to say it. Got to remember that's just a synthetic fiber woven, and as it gets wet and then pressure gets put on there, like when you drop down and make a save or whatever, it roughs it up. So I had put these aside, haven't used them in a very long time, and probably about 2 years ago I started to work on them. I took my time. Part of it was I had to smooth out the knee surfaces, so that involved razor blade and basically shaving it. I also had one of those sweater pill remover things, the little battery operated shaver for sweaters. I used that got rid of it quite a bit and smoothed it out, and then used a razor blade and gave it a shave and got them as smooth as I could. Then I did the recoloring of the face of the knee rolls, touched up the outside of the skate boot I did not do anything with the blue, the white tabs, or the white outside rolls. So because they were so bad, I wasn't sure how well these would ever hold up. There's one other change that I made in the process, because again, I started these quite a long time ago. These are new Cooper logos on here with heat transfer vinyl. And this was the last set that I put the logos on after recoloring the material. This set really pointed out to me how it bleeds the color into the white vinyl. And so there's a slight pink hue to the white. It also shows me that that's one of the reasons I have a hard time getting the logos to stay. So I've done multiple sets of gear since then, and on all of them that I did logos on, I've done the logo first, then recoloring them, which adds a step because I got to keep making sure I clean off the graphic that I put on. I'm going to revisit this and put the logos back on again. My one big concern was the outside rolls. This era of the CanStar ownership of Cooper, for one thing, you notice it doesn't say Durasoft on these at all, and that's because they changed to using a different brand of material, let's say, a different quality level. It didn't hold up as well in some pads that they made. And the white, this is the style of white that got really bad. It would crack and dry and discolor and flake off. So it is really not in the best shape on the white, but I sealed them and they held up really well. No extra cracks, no holes, no tears from playing. Overall, I'm very, very happy with how the pads turned out. The last step I did was brand new. I made white leather straps with new buckles. Just got my strap leather in. The trick to that was this strap leather is, no kidding here, twice as thick as a standard strap from these pads. So the slots, the openings on the backside aren't really wide enough to easily get these straps through. I have a technique for it. I've done little videos and shared on social media, and I think here on YouTube as well. I have a really easy way to do it. It just was very hard with these pads. The other thing is these are a poly stuffed pad. So it's that fiber poly material like from pillows and things, like throw pillows or cushions. And that stuff, once you've pulled a strap out, like a channel doesn't necessarily stay where the old strap was. It tends to fill back in. It was a real nightmare, and it was one of the other things that made me so time stressed for the day, because I was finishing off after work that day to get these straps put on. They held up really well for the game. I know it wasn't that busy. The finish looks good. I do have to deal with the logo. It's always the left leg. Always the left leg. There you go. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. And if you got any comments or questions about any of the gear or the gameplay, please drop a comment down below. And as always, thanks for watching.